and just put on each side 4 sides, orange dot, a blue dot, or whatever it is, and throw them BP. What color did you see? What color did you see? Again, third thing with that we all could probably do here is I went back to old school as a drill that his dad taught me, actually. Took beer bottle caps, okay? And I'm just sitting there flicking them. And
cut the handle off a broom?
Or a wiffle ball bat. And so, you know,
shouldn't be saying this, but we have an excuse why we can drink beer now for the wives.
My sons have gotten into the mode of, well, that's a Bud Light, that's a Stella, that's a Bud Light.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. And so they're just looking for that thing, and so it's not about your stride. It's not about this and that. It's just seeing the ball. And then I throw them some baseballs, and it's fun for me because I get to build it.
That's what I found is, you know, like some kids also just get confused looking up the rest of the windup, but all the pitchers have different timings on those things. Yeah. If they, like, the other thing is like terms, like if we talk about window or inside or A to B, a lot of kids don't know those terms, so you have to tell them what you mean when you're saying, here's the ball coming through the window.
And that's part of the coaching, right? I mean, is we're introducing them to these terms that are staples and foundations of baseball, because if they continue on, they're going to need to know what that is. Yeah. They're going to need to know what the release point, what the soft, what the fine is, and those sort of things. So that's definitely part of the teaching.
Another thing that can help the players, when they get into the game, there's nothing, I mean, once they get in that box, if you're saying, hey, let the ball travel, front foot down, like, they're just thinking. And we're all at fault, and I'm really working on this too. Once they get in the game and they're in that box, see the ball, hit the ball. See the ball, hit the ball. That simple, all right? You know, all this release point, like hands back, load, all that stuff, that stuff is needed to be done in practice and get that dialed in practice. Once they get into the game, when you're down there saying, hey, let the ball travel, hands back, like, they're just thinking. They're not even thinking about what pitch is coming and stuff like that. So when we're trying to ask them, hey, what are you thinking? They're probably sitting there going, what are the 10 things you just told me? I can't remember. So just once we get into the game, let them play. Let them play, and that's, like, I think leading into like the practice plan part of it. Once you start playing games, that's a very easy way to design your practice plan. Very simple way. Okay, we messed up bunt defenses. All right, bunt defenses we're going to. Base running's been bad. We're gonna work on base running. You know, we're not getting our bunts down offensively. We're gonna do that stuff. That's how you develop your lesson plan. I mean, your practice plan once you get into your season, because it becomes very easy. Before that, you have to be creative, and you have to find out what positions players are good at, what your weaknesses are. But once you start the games, those practice plans become very simple to write up.
I think with that, just a second, Jim, with that in the practice planning and evolving into that talk, I think that if you spend a practice, and we were having this conversation earlier about, I was having with somebody about the cuts and relays, and I think there's a reason that for 150 years, the terminology or the philosophy's been out there, it's about pitching and defense. So if you're going to spend, you know, say your 4 practices, I would spend 3, majority of the time is defense, and 1 on hitting. Because ultimately when your games come down and what it is that's what it's about. But when it comes to hitting, I think if you have a practice where you really are mechanically, you're talking them, or you take time and you're doing things, then make sure the next time you do hitting, it's less mechanics and it's see and react. In our practice days, I always make sure that, you know, we divide it up a little bit more, where when you leave the cage, that's when the thinking stops and you come on the field for your hitting execution, BP rounds and whatever it is. It's just see and react. So we divide our time between when our brain is dialed in and we're thinking about all the things that we're doing, and then we leave it in that area, again, where the pig's dissected, and we come out here, and this is where we go. We forget that, and we have what we have. Again, like going to the driving range and you're feeling things, and when you get on that course, you just play. And you're out in the woods like me, but that's different. It's definitely making sure that you're giving their brain a break.
Okay? The 2 things I see is lifting the back foot and pulling your head. How do you work on
So for lifting the back foot, a guy that keeps like striding, you can do a couple of drills. One is you spread them out and no stride. All right. Where's Andrew? I worked with Andrew Weiss on this. Okay. Now what it is they're just here, and their contact point is right here. It doesn't allow them to come forward because they're already in a wide stance and they can't do this anymore. So it's just right here, boom, just hitting right there. Just you front toss or off the tee. Another drill is called the bounce drill. You're in front of them, you got a tennis ball or a baseball, whatever, you have a screen right behind you, and same thing, you're just gonna bounce it right here. And so now they're here, they have to wait for it, and they have to hit it right here. If they get out here, they're never gonna hit that bounce. That bounce comes, and it's right here, and those are good things to kind of keep their balance.
I think with that, and I'm seeing it here today, and it's something that I think to use an education term, it meets the kids where they're at, is the development of technology. And sometimes it may not necessarily be you saying something, but letting them see themselves can teach a lot. And there's a free app that you turned me on to on the smartphones. Everybody's got a smartphone. Video Picks. That little one right there, which is handheld, and I'll have my phone and I'll take like 15 seconds, boom, right there, and it's immediate playback, and I'll show it to them. And I won't even say a word. I'll just let them see it, and then they kind of get that. I mean, you could be there and you could have a practice where each kid's going to come up, set up a tee, whatever, just boom, boom, and then you just show it to them, and just letting them see themselves. Most kids never see themselves, hit, so they're sitting there and they're getting all this reinforcement. And again, relating to technology, I mean, all the schools are using iPads and doing all this sort of stuff, and that's what they're used to. It's also a cool hook to buy them in. Wow, man, I can see myself and I can do that. And sooner or later, you got mom out there, with the thing and whatever. But it's just a simple thing, a teachable point. If you don't feel comfortable critiquing, and just video, and then you can look at it or just show it to them right there, and it's just immediate feedback that helps the player see himself and get that point as far as what you're talking about.
And the other thing with that is that, like, let the players, especially the older kids, tell you like what they felt was wrong sometimes. Because they need to understand and be able to tell you and relate it to you, because if I'm sitting there going, oh no, your hands were, your stride was this, I'll just boom, what do you think you did there? Oh, I didn't let the ball travel, I got it out too, and then, okay, good, that's exactly what I want to hear. You're coaching yourself now. Now you're feeling what is right and what is wrong, and you can tell yourself that, and I don't need to continue, wrong, right. So let them tell you sometime.
Well, can you back up a minute from
Yeah.
the very beginning? We teach the kids walking up to the plate what they should be doing, and then what position they should get into at the plate, and how some little checkpoints there where they can lean over and touch the other side of the plate with the bat, and then they know they're pretty well covering the plate with the bat. And we teach them the front lead foot up, even with the front of the plate, usually as a starting stance. Can you kind of run through that?
For me, like, I don't really, I'll make box adjustments maybe inside the game. Like, our older guys, they were facing lefty, that's a soft lefty. Right. We'll move up in the box, get on the dish.
Yeah, I know all that.
Yeah, so for me personally, like, I like, wherever the kids are stand, I like them to be maybe closer to the plate, because as a pitcher, you see a guy on that plate, you're either going to beat him or you're going to throw a ball right down the middle, and that's boom. But not too close to the plate, where now my swing, my handle's covering the, so again, maybe just reaching out. This is a fungo.
That's what we do.
It's just reaching out right here. The other thing is, I tell the kids, have a the same pre-pitch routine every time. I know, like, when I was in Little League, you'd come up here and be like, 1, 2, ball 1. And you go, hey, how many times did I do it? So just have them do the same thing every time.
High school guys this is kind of where this and the batting cage area, that's where we dissect the pig. Okay, and out here is where we do our work. And so what I mean by that is this is kind of like you take your car into the shop, and this is where we slow things down, and this is where we just get a good feel. Swinging with too much effort is one of the most common mistakes. Okay.
With this also, like I tell guys, this is your best friend. Like, when you don't have a guy that can throw to you, this is your best friend. This is where you get mechanically sound. This is your chance with a stationary ball to adjust some stuff with your mechanics and swing and test it out.
I think the second thing with the tee that sometimes we fall into the trap of, and it's on the article, is a lack of concentration. Right? It's not competitive. It's not somebody throwing to me. And we have that mistake again with high school guys, and I'm sure it's happening. I know it's happening at the younger level. What happens with my son is they're just up there hitting. And I think the lack of concentration can start with where the tee is placed. Okay? And when we're working off the tee, when you're having guys hit off that tee, I always want to have it in line with my front foot. Okay? In line. I don't want it too far out front. Now we're building a swing to what? The hook, and be out front. When we want to be, boom, nice and square right here. So if we're too far out front and you see kids hitting off the tee, now we're building that. Same thing if they're too deep here. So in line with the front foot, and the fungo bat's a little long, but usually it's belly button. Here is our distance. And so we're just taking those swings to work right back up the middle off the tee.
You get to call this contact point. Like, that's the, you'll hear that a lot. Like, let the ball travel to your contact point, which is on that front foot. Contact point out front means I'm going to pull it, I'm going to be up the end of the bat, my top hand automatically comes out. So contact point is right there.
I think the best thing is, as you're working, when you progress to you know, the side toss that we did with the drills over here, and even when you're throwing batting practice or whatever it is, if your guys are fouling balls off late, right-handed hitter to the right side, or they're hitting balls to right field, that is a great place to be, okay? Because that tells us two things. They're letting the ball travel, which is what we want. They're not that kid that's going out and getting it. And they're staying back and they're staying balanced. So right field, fouling it off late, that's a great place to start. You may get in your teams and get in your situations, and you got that guy who's just, he's hitting balls real well to left field, okay? But when you put a pitcher on the mound and it comes time to hit, that ball has to travel and you want him to be balanced. So in practice, if we can hit those balls to right field, that's going to be a great place for us to be. Yeah.
So, hey, the initial setup, and I see this a lot, even with the high school guys, is you want to make sure that balance is everything with hitting, pitching, fielding, everything. So balance is key. So number one is, you know, everyone's different. The closer your feet are, the more off balance you're going to be, the longer your stride's going to be. Which is, when I'm right here, my head level's right here, I overstride, now my head level's gone down, the ball's gone up. So again, you want them to have a good base right here. That thing I see a lot of kids doing is they got what's called a hammer grip, or, you know, so they're right here. So again, when you swing, everything is right here. The best thing to do is we want to have these kids line these knuckles up. All right, this gives me more control with the bat. I have more whip. I can get to a lot more balls. When I'm right here, that outside pitch, I always go here. If I'm able to come right here, I can stay right there. A good key to look at that is the kids with the back elbow. Back elbow, we get right here. First thing is they come here, and then they're not understanding why they can't get to that ball. So, just if they put the bat down right here, get it right here, they're holding it, and they can do this, you know you got it. If they're here and it's going all over the place, they have it too far. They should never have it in here. So it's nice and easy right here. So then I'm just simple right here, and everything is stride and just contact right here. Okay, if I get this grip, it's drop or it's out here and I'm reaching for it. Okay, so again, very simple is to get these knuckles lined up. They can just line them up. If both fingers point to the sky, you're good. If one's pointing this way, you know you're not good. That's very simple. Just point them straight up. Okay, but again, I think this has been lost in the game of baseball, especially hitting, is lining our knuckles up. You have so much more back control and you can do so much more things, as opposed to this becomes, I'm just going to open up and I'm just a full hitter because I can't do anything else. Okay?
I think that, you know, three more things that I'll touch on here, and I know I started with the tee, but there's another great article that I had, just to digress a little bit, and it was an article written by Mike Epstein. Again, your generation, everybody remember Mike Epstein, played for the A's, hitting coach, and that sort of thing, and he wrote this article, and he had a picture of Manny Ramirez, he had a picture of Scott Rowland, and he had a picture of Andy Roddick, okay? And the article was entirely about don't coach the natural swing out of the player. You may say, well, they're 8 or 9 or 10 years old, what's their natural swing? But honestly, everybody finds a way to have their natural swing. And so the picture in the article represented Andy Roddick, who never touched a baseball bat before in his life. And Mike Epstein went out to the U.S. Open before and asked him, hey, can I just feed you a couple tennis balls here and have you take a swing? And they showed the picture of Manny Ramirez at contact, Scott Rowland at contact, and Andy Roddick, and they were all in exactly the same position. And here's two guys that make $40 million a year and one guy that makes nothing. And the point was, and again, those are men that are, you know, elite athletes, but again, even at younger ages, there is a natural swing. So as much as you're trying to make sure there's some fundamental things, don't feel that everybody has to fit into the cookie cutter mode. Okay, the only promise that I made to myself with my sons, who are 8 and 6, was that I was going to take some time before I do that. You know, tell them this is where you need to be. I wanted them to find that on their own. I'm not saying they're great players or anything, but I think they're finding their way where their focus is just, let's just hit the baseball. I don't want to get too overloaded with mechanical information, and that was a problem that I had in my career where, you know, I spent so much time thinking about mechanics that when you get in the box, you can't just see and hit, okay? And so letting them find their natural swing, and the last part is, I think if you have time in practice, and this is another thing, I'm a big believer in always having them work on hitting with something moving. So again, we started with the tee, and there's some value there, but whether it's side toss, whether it's front toss, whether it's wiffles or batting practice, I think the more the younger players can get in the habit of hitting things that are moving rather than things that are stationary, although it has its purpose, I think that can help the hand-eye coordination and certainly the confidence come when it comes to hitting in a game. Again, sorry, stories. I love to tell stories, but I had a chance to go down and spend 2 different years in the Dominican Republic for a missions trip, and it is everything. I don't know if anybody's ever been down there, but it's everything that you read about, where there's dirt fields and there's guys out there playing, and nobody would disagree that probably the best players in the major leagues right now are Dominican players. And there is, huh?
Buster.
Well, Buster, yeah, he's up there, but they don't know what a tee is. They've never hit off a tee. They're hitting rocks, they're hitting socks, they're out there with bare feet, and so it's just a matter of training. I think that little thing of making sure that kids are always hitting something moving. Soft toss, side toss, wiffle balls, whatever it is, can kind of progress that a little bit further.
I got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So, I find that there's coaches that talk about throw your bat head at the ball. And then there's other guys that I've seen that are pro, they say, take the knob of the bat to the ball, and then the bat head will follow. So what do you guys teach?
I mean, for me, if you're bringing the knob, you're keeping your hands inside. When you throw the barrel, a lot of times it's called casting, which means you come out here and you have that long swing. A lot of things I show for like the younger guys is you do a drill where like just have them like almost contact point right here, and start pushing the bat back and see if like they can't hold it. But then you have them come here, and now try to push the back, and that's where your contact is. That's where your strength is.
Swing?
Yeah, so I'm right here, boom, I'm right here, like I'm in a good position to where if someone tries to push it back, I got some strength. If I come out here, now now when you push, I'm just gonna come right back
You're
here.
also losing control too, right?
Yeah. Well, also now that you're out here, that pitch inside hits you right here. Everything is trying to keep your hand inside the baseball right here, so that inside pitch we're good, that outside pitch I'm still good right there.
Quick, I'd like to see a little bit on where the hands are, how far out, where's the right elbow,
I think like Coach Turk said, like that's kind of a case by case basis. You know, I think
Kevin Euclid is up here.
yeah, like Uke starts up here. I don't know if I remember Teach Tyson that, but I think the basics just start from the feet up.
The one thing that you'll find with that though, and this is just research, is you see all those guys, the major leaguers, and even kids at this age, they all start in all different spots. But as the kid gets refined, when that pitcher comes to the window and it comes time to hit, no matter where they start, all those guys are in exactly the same spot. They're all in the same spot, and so you may have some kid that goes up there with a bat up his on his backside or whatever. But bottom line is when that hand comes to the window, is he in that spot that we want to be? A couple of checkpoints to get set, like say you're ready to launch. So I like to have the hands, the bottom hand level in height with the shoulder and distance. That bottom hand is right here, no deeper, no higher than that back shoulder. And what I use is a fan of the hand away. No more. It's about a fan of the hand away from. So it's not in here, and it's not out here. It's a fan of the hand away. If we can have that in a good spot, then we're in a good place. Nothing in hitting can start. Everything's predicated off that.
Where's the left hand again? Even with the
Back shoulder.
Oh,
Back shoulder.
back shoulder.
Even in
Right
height
there,
and
yeah.
distance with that back shoulder. Nothing in hitting can start until that front foot is on the ground. Everything's predicated off that front foot. Okay? So that front foot has got to be down, and what we always tell our guys is when that pitcher is at the window, boom, here, I want that front foot down on the ground or on its way down to the ground. Because if it's not, then you're going to have like a dog chasing his tail, and we're going to be spinning out. So we'll spend time and time and time, and that may be the only thing. Get the front foot down. Get the front foot down early for a guy that throws harder. Not swinging harder. Just make sure that front foot is on the ground. The greatest hitter in the game today, even though he had a bad year last year, Pujols, tells us that we don't have to have a big stride. We use simple heel up and heel down. And so that gets into my other theory that it's more time, but I think the stride is overrated. But as long as that front foot is down, we're in a good place.
I think it's again about balance. I tell the young kids, and the young kids love hearing this. Then you have a pole go up your butt, out your head, and they'll all laugh. They love that. But all I can do on that pole is just turn. Like if I start going this way, if I had that pole, it's going to hurt a little bit. It's going to hurt no matter what. But I'm just twisting.
Ow.
I'm just twisting right here. So if you think like Coach Turk talking about, if you talk to them about almost like boxing, like if we're fighting and I just go like this, you're going to laugh. But if I step and load up and now punch with my hip and my hands, that's the same thing. It's like throwing a punch. Just like that's what hitting is. I'm here, I stride, then my back hip goes, and my hands are right there, and that's hitting right there. Just nice and easy. If you're having You know, like kid that steps in the box, a couple little tricks. Like sometimes my son Tyson steps in the box. So for BP, I'll have him start out here, then get back to here, and keep doing that until, and then I'll say, okay, let's try this now. Let's see if you can get it back there. And if he keeps stepping out, okay, let's go back here, and just keep messing, keep adjusting it. Don't say, don't be scared of the ball. Don't be scared of the ball, because they are scared of the ball. All right, they're just natural. So again, building confidence. Okay, you're looking good. You're looking good. Keep it away. So then once you come here, now they know they can go right there.
I think kind of bringing things back maybe a little bit to the context here, and I'm a little bit different this way, but you look at everything's kind of predicated off the major league game, and right now pitching dominates the major league game. Okay, and there's a theory that I buy into that a lot of that is that pitching's gotten better, but hitting has regressed, and I think part of it, and we certainly see that at the high school level, is because of the lesson guy. Parents spend so much money going to the cage, going to the lesson guy, I'm not saying anything bad against the lesson guy, but when we were all growing up, you go out in the front yard and you play wiffle ball. You go out and you throw them balls and do things like that, and kids are just learning how to hit. And so the theory is that hitters have become too mechanical. They're thinking too much instead of just that natural, Joe DiMaggio, whatever it is, just natural, the natural hitting thing. I think I'm advocating it would be better time spent for the development of your players and your team to sit there and throw wiffle balls at them and let them just hit and learn to hit than take $100 an hour and have them go to a lesson guy. I think that there's a fine line, and part of the balance of multi-sports and saying, well, I got to do this because he's been in this sport, and now I got to get him some lessons, and that's sort of just throwing balls. It's a matter of repetition. Okay, I know my golf game, sure, it might help to have a pro, but my game regresses when I don't play for 4 months, and then I go hit some balls, and you find your way back into it a little bit. So I think that's a little bit of that.
So do you not think that? What about the point of saying, look, if you're doing it a lot and you're doing it badly, that you're teaching your muscles, you're getting the muscle memory of how not to.
That's that fine line, right? That's that fine line. But the first thing that we have to have is we have to have certainly the desire to hit, and they certainly have to have some sort of, the hand-eye coordination. It's got to start with seeing the baseball. And most slumps or kids not hitting, again, it's like, we talked about earlier with Peter in pitching. When he's not throwing strikes, there's too many things going on in his head. When we're not hitting the ball here and we're not making contact, more often than not, my point is it's not mechanical. Get back to just see the baseball. Just how well can you see the baseball?
What do you tell? I mean, seeing the baseball, like I've done a lot of teams. You ask kids when they see the ball, when they're picking up the ball. 80% of them don't. Yeah, I mean, I would emphasize that to kids that, do you know when you first see the ball? What's it look like? When are you picking up? Where are you looking? Because I think a lot of kids don't know, like, the ball gets about 2/3 of the way there. That's when they first think they're picking up the ball.
Here's two things with that. Number one is teaching them where to look. And again, we can do this at a young age. We talk about soft center and fine center, okay? And that is, you don't want to be looking at the window of the pitcher until those hands split and they come to the window. So where are your eyes hanging out? If you watch a major league game, you can see guys when they get that center field view, they're looking out in the field, they're looking whatever, and then all of a sudden they dial in on that area. We look at the guys coming over the top, the emblem of the cap.
Some people might be this.
Any routine that a kid has, any routine, even if you think it's bad, is a good routine. Because
they're doing the same thing every time.
Because in baseball, especially when it comes to hitting, there's so much that we can't control. Can't control the pitch, we can't control the location, we can't control what if we have that routine, it kind of solidifies some sort of confidence.
Well, they got to do it after every pitch too, because we see them, they've been starting out in one pitch and then they're all, wrong position in the second pitch, and we try to get them back to the original position.
Yeah, so he talked about touching the outer half of the plate. I like to have the point go right up my belly button, front foot, boom, right here. And we touch the outer half of the plate as they get closer, and we do this with our guys. I might be revealing a little bit of secret here to the enemy, but statistics tell us in 100 pitches in a baseball game, 75 to 80% are on the outer half of the plate. That's where they are. Fastballs, changeups, curveballs, it's right there.
Same, right back at you.
So that's where we're going to prepare for. Okay, we're going to prepare to make sure that we can get that, and depth-wise, that's where I like to be. Front foot, even with the plate, point right up here, and right in the middle.
And another thing is, if you're having a kid that continues to pull, what we can do is we go angle hitting, which is set, you can maybe go off, you offset a little bit right in front of second base, and you can put something in so their shoulders are still facing the pitcher, but now it's coming from an angle and they're letting the ball deep, and it teaches them to hit the ball that way with some authority, and not this one right here, but it's coming from an angle, so boom, that contact point is right there going back up.
Yeah.
Can you touch on some bunting as well?
Yeah, okay. All right, for bunting, the way we do it at St. Francis, all right, for sack bunts, I'll start off with sack bunts. First off, when you're sacrificing yourself. Tell the player, you're a team player, you're sacrificing yourself. You're not trying to get on. You're sacrificing yourself. The way we do it is this is the front of the box, inside right here. I'm up on this front, on this dish, as much as I can get. Right here, okay? Now, from there, that way I increase my fair territory. When I come back here, foul territory is more open, okay? So right up here, we cut this off. For me, the way we teach it is we'll have our back foot still like this way in case we want to slash. We open up this one, shoulder, we have the barrel at shoulder level, and I call it barrel vision. So I can see the ball hitting the bat right there. I have barrel vision every time. The ball is up above, I pull back. But if it's down, I could go right here. Anything more than that, I just pull it back. So, and then bat angle. If I drop the bat, I'm right there. That's all my fair territory right there. Now, comes here to third, same thing. I'm not punching at it. I'm just seeing, I got barrel vision, goes bat angle, boom, down right there. What you'll see the kids do is either punch at it or they'll do this and start running. Remind them that this is a sacrifice. You're sacrificing yourself. I tell our St. Francis guys, I'd rather see you bunt it and just stand there rather than miss the bunt, you're running, and then now we're down to one strike. Okay, so again, make sure they're here, boom, in a good athletic position. I see barrel vision, boom, I just deaden it. If I'm going to third, barrel vision, boom, I'm right there. All right, those are the two sacks right there. We want to make the first baseman field it or the third baseman field it. All right, same thing for a lefty. For a drag, all right, I know not a lot of guys may be getting into the drag, but if you want to teach it, it's a good way to get a base hit. If you have a quick kid, third baseman, play it back. Very simple. You're right here. All you do is you bring in the knob right here, and we're right here. Just staying just right here. Now, once I get that down, I'm in a running position right here. So again, all it is just boom, right here. Base hit, foul ball is what we want. Bat angle is good. If I get it down too late, it's boom. So again, pitcher's about to come right here. That's when I'm going to show drag right here. I don't want to move that front foot. A lot of our guys do that. They move this front foot, their eyes are bouncing. Nice and easy, boom. Okay, if I'm a lefty, this is even better. I'm just right here, I just take this foot, I'm right here, and I cross, I'm going. Okay? That's got it. And then, again, bunting is a lost art, and I think we need to teach it. Because you guys see in the World Series, it gets to that 7th, 8th inning, we need Crawford to get that bunt down, and he did. Okay, but if they don't do that, if we're not a team that does that, now we get a strike out there, and that kills the rally right there.
So your terminology on a bunt is you're catching the ball to deaden it, you're going after the ball, or you're letting the ball hit it.
I want to soften it. So if I'm softening it, you don't want to give it away too much, but I'm going to be firm right here, but I'm just going to be soft. I'm just going to let it hit. I don't want to punch, I'm just going to like deaden it if we can.
So
we're not going to pull it back, you're just going to keep it right here, and you're nice and right with a trigger finger right here, this is right here, and it's going to boom, it's going to deaden, because you don't have a good grip on it to make it punch here or here. It's going to be nice and
I
relaxed.
think the key is that top hand, and the drill that we'll do is even without the bat, and we'll go through the whole footwork, and we'll throw tennis balls again, just having them catch it in that top hand, catch it in that top hand, catch it in that top hand, and then we'll go with a bat and do the same thing right there. That's the philosophy that we want to have.